Joining us now is Robby Gordon. And Robby, 2 of your 3 career wins have come on a road course, including the Sonoma Watkins Glen sweep in 2003. In terms of your confidence level, what's it like for you when you go to a road course?
Well, you know, looking back at the last 3 road courses, we've been in position. How do you say it? You got to put yourself in front of that door and be sitting there. And we've got caught out basically not pitting when a caution comes out. We've been doing a lot of testing lately, and it hasn't been how to make our race car go fast. It's how to get the best fuel mileage possible, but still make enough power down the straightaway. So we've been working really hard with John Dysinger and all the guys over at Triad on our engines, and I feel good about going into Watkins Glen this weekend.
Now, of course, in 2003, you were with a multi-car team backed by a big money sponsor with RCR. That's not necessarily the case right now, but certainly there are some disadvantages you face as a driver-owner. But when it comes to a road course, how much of an equalizer is pure driving ability?
Well, just 2 months ago back in June, we were leading the race there when the caution came out. So, you know, we had passed, I think, 17 cars and drove ourselves up to 3rd. I felt we were equally with the pace of Casey Kane and Tony Stewart, and we just paced off them and rode there for a while. Unfortunately, caution caught us out. So, you know, we blew that race. And how do you say it? You beat yourself sometimes, and that's what we've been doing on these road courses. We led again the year before and again at Watkins Glen. So we've got good, fast race cars, but our strategy quite hasn't been there, and we got to work on that.
Do you feel like you've got fast enough race cars, the right equipment, to challenge these big teams for the win at Watkins Glen this weekend?
I don't think I know that our cars are good enough. I know that we get the fuel mileage. It's if we make the right call. And how do you say it? For the last 3 road races, we've led them, and we beat ourselves. So now we just got to focus on that and not get hung out. And you know, that's Kirk's primary focus is what lap we're going to pit on, and pray a caution doesn't come out before that.
Okay, before we let you go, Robby, we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about what happened this past week in Pocono. Now, we heard your radio transmission where you basically said you were going to wreck David Stremme. What led up to that?
Well, let me tell you why he didn't get wrecked, more or less. At the end of the day, he wrecked me, and that's the way it goes. And I'm gonna come back and blame ourselves. You got to look in the mirror. If you're gonna blame somebody else, you got to blame ourselves first. We started 34th. We drove to 20th. I sped down pit road. That put us 43rd. We drove back to 24th again. We had a bad pit stop, fell back to 28th. So, you know, we've got to work on our own program and where we put ourselves in the races, because we were very easily as good a car as Tony Stewart last weekend or Clint Boyer, who finished 3rd. We just didn't put ourselves in those same positions. It's kind of the same stuff that's going on with the road course. We got to have a better strategy showing up at these racetracks. So as far as I'm concerned, the Stremme thing is over. It's done with. I didn't wreck him because I wanted to race this weekend. To be honest with you, it went through my head, and I was like, all right, I'm going to pay him back. But then it's like, no, we'll let this one ride for a while, and we'll focus on Watkins Glen.
You know, when you made those comments over the radio, everybody obviously was glued to the television set on lap 157 when it seemed you got turned around. What actually happened there?
Well, I was messing with David, and I put myself in a position to get wrecked again. So that's just the way it goes. Before I can go off and blame David, I got to blame myself first. Okay,
and NASCAR came down on both of you guys pretty hard with a 5-lap penalty. Do you feel like it was justified?
To be honest with you, at that point, my car was killed anyway. So 5 laps, 10 laps, whatever it is, it is.
Okay, now moving forward, we go to Watkins Glen. Still a lot of racing left in 2009. Is this all behind you two guys?
As far as I'm concerned, I'm done with it. We got to focus on Watkins Glen and worry about our own race program, not worry about David Stremme. Okay, you know, David's a talented race car driver, and he does a good job.
Have you talked to David at all?
No.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about your race team and the strategy you've been talking about here during this interview. We discussed at the beginning of the interview the challenges you face as a driver-owner. Right now, how would you compare your program to some of the others you're trying to compete with on a week-to-week basis?
Well, I think we know where our weaknesses are, and it's our job to work harder to catch up. You know, the positive side is we've had fast race cars. We just haven't put ourselves in the position at the end, and that's what we got to focus on. And we've been, how do you say it, beating ourselves before we can beat other people. And we got to focus on not making those mistakes. My God, I've got a good group of guys that are building us beautiful race cars, and I look forward to this weekend and other races. And I think the only way you can get better is to learn from the mistakes you made.